There is always something behind a story that people do not see. Sometimes when two famous people don't get along, it looks simple from outside, but inside there is a secret that no one knows. This secret can change how we think about them forever. The story of the secret feud between this man and Richard Boone is one of those mysteries. It was not just a small fight or a quick argument, it was a deep conflict that stayed hidden for years. The reason why he hated Richard Boone is not easy to explain, but when you learn about it you will feel surprised and want to know more. Imagine two men working in the same industry, maybe even friends or competitors, but underneath everything something dark and strong was growing between them. This secret feud was like a quiet storm that no one could stop. Many people thought their problems started because of work or money, but the truth is far more personal. Sometimes hate comes from jealousy, fear, or pain from the past. Maybe there was something Richard Boone did or said that made the other man feel small or angry. Maybe it was about respect or a broken promise. Or maybe it was something from childhood or before they became famous. What makes this story more interesting is that the real reason was kept secret for a long time. The man himself did not want anyone to know why he hated Richard Boone so much. He kept his feelings inside, but they affected his life every day. When two people fight like this, it is not just about the other person, it is about how they see themselves and their place in the world. The hatred was a reflection of his own struggles. Richard Boone represented something more than just a rival. He was a symbol of a pain or failure he could not forget. This secret feud was like a shadow following him wherever he went. Even though they met many times in public or at work, the tension between them was clear to some who watched carefully. The other man's anger was sometimes visible in small ways, through his words, his actions, or even his silence. But what makes this feud so special is that no one really knew the full story until much later. The man never spoke openly about why he hated Richard Boone. Some people guessed, some made stories, but the truth stayed hidden. It was a secret locked inside his heart, and only a few close people ever heard the real reason. This is why the story is still interesting today. It is a mystery wrapped in fame, jealousy, and pain. Imagine living with this secret every day. How hard would it be to work in the same field as someone you hate? How would it feel to see that person succeed while you carry this anger inside? The secret feud was more than just a fight, it was a part of his life that shaped who he became. It affected his choices, his mood, and even his health. Sometimes hate can control a person's life more than they want to admit. This story teaches us that behind every famous face there are human emotions and stories that we may never fully understand. The secret feud between him and Richard Boone is a reminder that even the brightest stars can have dark shadows. It makes us curious to learn more about what really happened, what caused the hate, and if there was ever a way to fix it. Was there a moment when they could have stopped fighting? Did anyone try to help them make peace? These questions keep the story alive. In the end, the secret feud is not just about two men, it is about the emotions that connect us all. Anger, jealousy, pain, and sometimes forgiveness. It shows that even in Hollywood, behind the cameras and lights, real life and real feelings are always there. The man's hatred for Richard Boone was not just a simple hate, it was a story of hidden pain that changed everything he did. Now as we look back we can understand that the real reason he hated Richard Boone is not just one thing but a mix of many feelings and moments that stayed secret for a long time. This question has puzzled many people who looked at their relationship. On the surface it might seem like a normal rivalry between two men in the same business, but the truth was much more surprising and personal. You might think the reason was simple jealousy or competition, but there was something hidden beneath that made the feelings much stronger. The real cause was something that nobody expected and kept many people guessing for a long time. When you find out the real reason, it makes you want to learn more about the story behind it. At first, people believed their hatred was because of professional issues. They thought maybe Richard Boone took something from him, like a role or an opportunity. This is common in the world of celebrities, where chances to succeed can be rare and precious, but later it became clear that this was not the whole story. There was a deeper reason that touched their personal lives, not just their careers. The man hated Richard Boone for something that hurt him deeply on an emotional level. This made his anger last much longer and grow stronger with time. The man had always been proud of his work and reputation. When he saw Richard Boone, he did not just see a competitor, he saw someone who had crossed a line that he never expected. There was a moment, a specific incident, that changed everything between them. It was a moment that no one outside their circle knew about. This secret moment built a wall of hate that was hard to break. The more he thought about it, the more his hatred grew. It became not just about that one incident, but about everything that came after it. Many people wondered why he never talked about this incident openly. Some thought he was afraid, while others believed he did not want to ruin his own image. But the truth was that the pain was too deep. It was not easy to explain or understand even for him. Sometimes when someone is hurt badly, they keep the story inside and do not share it with others. This makes the hate even more powerful because it is mixed with feelings of sadness and betrayal. It was this mix of emotions that made the real reason behind his hatred so strong. Richard Boone was not an easy man to deal with either. He had a strong personality and could be very stubborn. This made it difficult for them to talk and solve their problems. The two men were like fire and oil, they could never mix well. Their fights were not just about small things but about respect and trust. The real reason for the hatred was hidden in these broken parts of their relationship. It was a personal matter that went beyond work and fame. It was about who they were as people. This secret reason makes us curious to know what exactly happened. Was it a betrayal of trust? Was it something said or done in anger? Or was it a misunderstanding that turned into something much bigger? The story has many possible answers, but no one knows for sure except the man himself. This mystery keeps people interested because it shows that even famous people have secrets and feelings that they hide from the world. When we think about hate, we often forget that it is not just about anger. Hate can come from fear, jealousy, or pain. It can be a way to protect oneself from getting hurt again. This was true in this case. The man's hatred for Richard Boone was a way to protect himself from the memories of a hurtful past. It was like a shield that he carried with him every day. This made the feud not just a story of two men but a story of human emotions and struggles. This real reason also shows us how complicated relationships can be. Sometimes people who seem strong and confident on the outside are fighting battles inside. The man's hatred was not just about Richard Boone but also about his own feelings of failure, loss, or fear. This made the feud more painful and harder to forget. It affected how he lived his life and how he saw the world. The secret reason was like a wound that never fully healed. The mystery of this secret reason makes us want to find out more about their story. It is a reminder that behind every conflict, there is often a hidden cause that is not easy to see. This story teaches us that hate is not simple. It is a mix of many feelings and experiences that shape a person. The man's hatred for Richard Boone is a lesson about human nature, about how our emotions can control us and change our lives in ways we never expect. In the end, the real reason he hated Richard Boone is a secret that may never be fully revealed. But knowing that there is more to the story than meets the eye makes us look at their feud in a new light. It is not just a story about anger but a story about pain, secrets, and the complicated ways people feel about each other. This makes the story powerful and unforgettable. When people hear about a secret feud, they often imagine two people shouting or fighting openly, but sometimes the most serious conflicts happen quietly behind the scenes. This was true for the relationship between him and Richard Boone. Their story was not one of loud arguments in public, but a slow, hidden battle filled with jealousy, rivalry, and feelings that nobody spoke about. What made their feud special was how complicated and silent it was. It was a war fought with looks, small actions, and unspoken words rather than loud fights. This made the story even more mysterious because many people did not understand what was really going on. Jealousy is a strong feeling that can build over time. It starts small, but if left alone, it can grow into something powerful and dangerous. Between these two men, jealousy was a quiet poison. One saw the other getting things he wanted, roles, fame, respect, and this made him feel less important. Instead of talking about it, he kept his feelings inside. Every time Richard Boone succeeded or got attention, the jealousy inside him grew stronger. This feeling made him watch Boone closely, always comparing himself and thinking about what he lost or never had. Rivalry was also a big part of their relationship. In the entertainment world, competition is normal. But sometimes it goes beyond healthy competition. For these two men, rivalry became personal. It was not just about who got the next role or who was more famous. It was about proving who was better, who deserved more respect. This rivalry created tension every time they met. People around them could feel the quiet battle through their body language and the way they avoided each other. It was like two animals in a cage, always aware of the other but never willing to make the first move toward peace. What made the rivalry more difficult was that neither of them wanted to show weakness. Both men were proud and strong in their own ways. Admitting any fault or mistake would have been like losing the battle. This pride kept them from talking honestly and fixing their problems. Instead, the distance between them grew. Each step they took apart made the feud deeper. This silence created a space where resentment could grow. Resentment is different from anger because it lasts longer and stays hidden inside. This resentment was a key part of their secret feud, and it affected their lives deeply. The unspoken grudges they carried were like invisible chains. Even though they sometimes worked in the same places or met at events, they never really connected. The man's hatred was not just about what Richard Boone did, but also about the feelings he kept inside himself. These feelings were hard to understand even for him. Sometimes we hate someone because they remind us of things we don't like about ourselves. Maybe Boone represented something the man could not accept or change in his own life. This made the feud personal in a way that others could never see. The way their relationship worked was like a puzzle missing some pieces. People around them saw parts of it but never the full picture. This created curiosity and many questions. What were the small actions that built this hatred? Was there a moment when one could have stopped the feud but chose not to? How did their silence speak louder than words? These questions make the story more interesting because they show that not all fights need loud voices to be powerful. Sometimes the quietest battles leave the deepest scars. In their private lives, this feud affected how they felt about themselves. When you hate someone so much and carry that feeling every day, it changes you. It can make you angry, sad, or lonely. It can stop you from trusting others or enjoying your success. The man's hatred for Richard Boone was a heavy weight on his shoulders. It was like carrying a secret that made him feel alone even when he was surrounded by people. This shows how deep and serious their secret feud was. The story of jealousy, rivalry, and unspoken grudges between these two men reminds us that people are complicated. Behind every public face there are feelings and stories we don't always see. Their feud was not just about hate, it was about emotions that grew slowly and quietly. This makes the story more real and human. It also makes us wonder if there could have been a way to stop the pain and find peace. The curiosity about their secret feud comes from the fact that it was hidden so well. No one expected such a strong conflict under their calm appearances. This hidden story teaches us that sometimes what is not said is more powerful than what is. It makes us think about the people in our own lives and the feelings we keep inside. The feud between him and Richard Boone is a story about human nature, about how jealousy and rivalry can change relationships in ways we do not understand at first. This part of their story is important because it shows how emotions build slowly and how dangerous it is to keep problems inside. It reminds us that talking and understanding can stop many problems before they grow too big. Unfortunately for these two men, the silence became a wall between them and their secret feud lasted for years. It is a story that makes us think about the power of feelings and the cost of holding on to hate. There are moments in life when one person comes to represent much more than just themselves. For this man, Richard Boone was not just a fellow actor or a rival, he was a symbol of something very personal and painful. This feeling made the hatred grow stronger and deeper than any normal rivalry. Imagine if someone in your life reminded you every day of a failure or a loss you could not forget. That is how Boone appeared to him. This was not just about jealousy or anger, it was about a deeper pain that the man kept inside. A pain that Boone unknowingly represented. Richard Boone's success and personality made him stand out, but to the man, Boone's presence was like a mirror showing things he wished he could hide. It reminded him of moments in his past that hurt badly. Sometimes when people see someone else doing well, it reminds them of what they lost or what they never had. For this man, Boone was a living reminder of his own struggles, his missed chances, and the things that went wrong in his life. This made every meeting between them difficult and filled with silent tension. The man's life had many challenges. He had worked hard to build his career, but things did not always go his way. There were failures and disappointments that left scars on his heart. Boone's success was a contrast to these painful memories. Seeing Boone achieve things he wanted made his pain worse. It was like a wound that never healed. This is why Boone was not just a rival in the industry but a symbol of all the things that hurt the man inside. Sometimes people carry invisible bags filled with pain, regrets, and broken dreams. For the man, Boone was like a heavy stone in that bag. Every time he thought about Boone or saw him on screen or in public, it brought back all those hard feelings. This made his hatred personal and hard to control. It was not easy for him to explain or even understand this feeling fully. This is why the feud stayed secret for so long. The man did not want to show his pain to the world or even admit it to himself. Boone, on the other hand, may have had no idea how much he affected the man. He probably thought of their relationship as just normal competition or professional disagreement. But for the man, Boone was more than that. He was the symbol of everything he lost and could not get back. This made their interactions full of silent pain and distance. It was like two people living in the same world but in very different places emotionally. This part of the story makes us curious about the moments that created this feeling. Was there a particular event that made Boone a symbol of pain? Did something happen in their past that changed how the man saw Boone forever? Or was it a slow-building feeling that grew over years? These questions make the story more interesting and show how feelings can become powerful symbols in our lives. The way Boone became a symbol for the man also shows how emotions work in complicated ways. Sometimes we do not just hate a person for what they did. We hate what they remind us of inside ourselves. This is why some feuds are not about the other person but about our own feelings and fears. For the man, Boone was a symbol of pain he could not forget or heal from. This made the hatred more difficult to overcome because it was tied to deep emotions and memories. This story reminds us that people carry more inside them than what we see. We might think someone hates another person just because of a fight or argument, but often it is much deeper. It is about feelings that are hard to explain or share. The man's hatred for Boone was a story of human pain and the way we sometimes connect feelings to people in powerful ways. It teaches us that understanding these feelings can help us see why people act the way they do. The secret feud between them was not just about two actors but about human emotions and the symbols we create in our minds. Boone became more than a person, he was a symbol of something the man could not escape. This made their story unique and filled with sadness. It also makes us wonder if there was a way for the man to let go of this pain and see Boone differently. Was there ever a chance for forgiveness or healing? These questions keep the story alive and make us want to learn more. In the end, this part of the story shows how deep feelings can go and how much a person can carry inside. It is a reminder that people are more than their actions. They are shaped by their emotions, memories, and symbols that mean different things to them. The hatred for Richard Boone was not just about hate. It was about a hidden pain that made the man's life harder. This makes the story real and human, and it helps us understand the power of feelings in shaping our lives. Sometimes when we hear about secret feuds, we wonder how much they affect the people involved in real life. This secret feud between him and Richard Boone was not just something that happened on screen or in public. It deeply changed his life and career in ways many people did not see. Imagine carrying anger and hatred for years. It becomes part of who you are. This secret feud was like a shadow that followed him everywhere, shaping his decisions, moods, and even his health. It was not just about the other person anymore, it was about how this anger controlled him. In the world of fame and entertainment, people often hide their true feelings. They smile for the cameras and pretend everything is fine. But behind closed doors, emotions can be very different. For this man, the feud with Richard Boone was a private battle that affected him more than anyone knew. It influenced how he worked, the roles he chose, and how he treated others. The anger he felt made it hard to trust people and sometimes made him push away friends or colleagues. This is the hidden cost of a secret feud, how it can change a person inside without the outside world noticing. The secret feud also created a barrier between him and other people. When you carry so much anger inside, it becomes difficult to connect with others. He sometimes felt lonely and misunderstood. The hate for Richard Boone was like a wall around him, keeping people out and blocking happiness. This is why many people who hate someone for a long time find it hard to be truly happy or peaceful. The feud was more than just about two men. It was about how anger can control a person's life and keep them trapped. The man's career was affected in ways that were not always clear. Sometimes he missed chances because he was too focused on his anger and pain. He might have said no to roles or stopped working with people who reminded him of Richard Boone. This hurt his progress and stopped him from reaching his full potential. The secret feud was not just a story of hatred but also a story of lost opportunities. It shows how emotions can block success and hold people back. Sometimes, people think that anger or hate gives them strength, but over time it can become a burden. For the man, the feud became heavy on his heart. It was like carrying a weight that never got lighter. This affected his health and happiness. People around him noticed that he was often tense, unhappy, or quick to anger. This secret feud was a hidden battle that he fought every day, even when no one saw it. It shows how strong emotions can change a person's life deeply. The story makes us curious about how people can live with such strong feelings for so long. How does someone keep hatred inside for years? What makes it so hard to let go? The man's life was shaped by this feud in ways that are difficult to explain. It teaches us that hate is not just a moment, it can be a lifelong struggle. This makes the story powerful and real because it shows the human cost of hidden anger. This part of the story also reminds us about the importance of forgiveness and healing. If the man had found a way to let go of his hatred, his life might have been very different. He could have been happier and more successful. But the secret feud kept him tied to the past. It was like a chain that stopped him from moving forward. This makes us think about how important it is to deal with our feelings before they control us. The secret feud between him and Richard Boone is a lesson about how emotions affect life. It shows that hatred is not just about the person you hate, it is about what that hate does to you. The man's life was changed by his feelings in ways that no one could see. This makes the story sad but also very human. It helps us understand that everyone has battles inside them, and sometimes those battles are invisible. In the end, this secret feud was more than a fight. It was a part of his life that shaped who he was. It changed how he worked, how he felt, and how he lived. This story reminds us to look deeper into people's lives because what we see on the surface is not always the full truth. The secret feud shows the power of feelings and the cost they can have on a person's life. When a secret feud ends, it does not always mean the pain disappears. Sometimes the end of a fight is just the start of a new chapter filled with reflection, regret, or even hope. This was true for him and Richard Boone. Their story did not just finish with a clear winner or loser, instead it left many questions and feelings that stayed with them for years. Imagine living with someone you once hated deeply and then suddenly the feud stops. What happens next? Does the hate go away, or does it stay hidden inside, waiting for another chance to come out? This is the mystery that makes their story so interesting. The end of their feud was not marked by a dramatic event or public apology. It was quiet, almost invisible. People around them noticed that the tension between the two men became less visible. They stopped avoiding each other so much, and the silent war that had lasted for years seemed to lose some of its power. But was the hatred really gone? Or was it just hidden deeper? This makes us curious because it shows that ending a fight is not always simple. Sometimes the real battle is what happens inside a person's heart after the fight is over. For him, the end of the feud brought mixed feelings. On one hand, there was relief because the constant anger and tension did not control him as much anymore. On the other hand, there was confusion and sadness. After years of holding on to hatred, letting go was not easy. It felt strange to live without the old feelings that had been part of his life for so long. This shows how powerful emotions can be and how they shape our identity. The feud had become a part of who he was, and losing it meant facing a new uncertain future. This makes us think about what it means to forgive or forget. Can someone truly forget a deep hurt? Or is forgiveness more about accepting the past and choosing peace? The man's story teaches us that forgiveness is not a simple step but a process that takes time and courage. It also reminds us that healing from pain is personal. What works for one person may not work for another. The curiosity about how they moved on from their feud invites us to learn more about the power of forgiveness. Richard Boone's role in the end of the feud is also important. Did he try to reach out? Did he feel the same relief or confusion? Their story was shared by two people, and both had their own feelings and struggles. This makes the story more complex and human. It is not just about one person's pain or hate, but about two people who lived through the same conflict in different ways. This adds depth and mystery to their relationship and makes us wonder what really happened between them when no one was watching. The story also makes us curious about how people change over time. Were they able to move past their old feelings completely? Or did the feud leave a permanent mark on their lives? Sometimes, even after making peace, the past stays with us in small ways. It can appear in memories, in how we react to certain people, or in quiet moments of reflection. This part of the story reminds us that healing is not always perfect or complete. It is often a journey with ups and downs. Their secret feud and its quiet ending teaches us about the complexity of human emotions. It shows that hate and love, anger and forgiveness, pain and healing are often mixed together in ways we do not expect. This story encourages us to look beyond surface appearances and understand the hidden feelings people carry. It reminds us that every conflict has many sides and that understanding is a key part of healing. In the end, the story of their feud is not just about hate or anger. It is about the human experience of feeling hurt, holding on to pain, and finding a way to move forward. It is about the difficult but important steps toward peace inside ourselves. This story makes us think about our own lives and the feuds we may carry silently. It invites us to consider forgiveness and the possibility of letting go. The secret feud between him and Richard Boone is a powerful reminder of how deep emotions can shape us and how healing is a journey we all face.